This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Jamie Glazov Moment. Tonight, a Muslim with a cleaver and Islam. As many of you know, another terrorist attack in Israel. A Muslim terrorist in a car slammed against a bus stop, jumped out with a cleaver, and began to slash away at Israelis. He killed a rabbi. A security guard ran up, and thank God he had a gun, and he was able to stop this deadly attack by killing the Muslim terrorist. A couple things. Terrorist attacks almost every day now in Israel. One of the recent ones, Muslim terrorists pulled a mother and a father out of a car and made the children watch as they shot the mother and the father to death. I mean, do you need anything more crystal clear to see the evil side and the good side in that quote-unquote conflict? Something that I find outrageous that's happening in all of this is the media, is our own administration's statements on this. I mean, if you watch, you look at the New York Times, look at the Washington Post, you look at CNN, MSNBC, their titles are, there's a Muslim terrorist that tried to kill or killed a whole bunch of Israelis, and then they finally shot him, and the title is Palestinians shot in Israel. Constantly blaming the victims, constantly exonerating the perpetrators, which are the Palestinian terrorists in Israel and attacking innocent Israelis. What just a shameless, shameful statement coming from the administration the other day. John Kerry is thinking about everything that's happening there. You've got a Muslim terrorist jumping out of a car, slicing people with his cleaver, killing a rabbi. And John Kerry sits back and thinks, there really is a problem with the Jewish settlements there. The Jews are building too many settlements. That's what's happening here. And ladies and gentlemen, after that statement, I was reflecting, there's no Jewish settlements in Iraq. There's no Jewish settlements in Syria. There's no Jewish settlements in Boston or in Chattanooga or in Fort Hood. Why were there Islamic terrorist attacks there? And this is what I want to get to tonight in terms of how, when it comes to Islamic terror, and in this case against Israelis, how our leftist media, our leftist literary culture, our administration is blaming the victims and exonerating the perpetrators. And here's the key. Whenever the Palestinian terrorists attack, whenever Muslim terrorists are attacking, like they just did the other day in Israel, there's this instinct in the left that however grotesque and vicious and sadistic the attack is, it must be something that the Jews are doing. It must be something that the Jews have done to provoke this. And, I want to give a suggestion. Maybe let's start listening to what the Palestinians say themselves about why they're doing what they're doing. So tonight, I want to talk about this. On October 9th, in a Friday sermon just recently, delivered at the Al-Abrar Mosque in Rafah, the Gaza Strip, Sheikh Mohammed Salah Abu Rajab brandished a knife during his sermon. And he called upon his brothers in the West Bank to quote-unquote stab. "Oh, young men of the West Bank," he said, "attack in 3s and 4s. And then he said, "cut them into body parts." This is a cleric talking in a mosque, giving advice to his quote-unquote faithful. Where is the coverage of this? Why is John Kerry talking about settlements in the West Bank and trying to figure out what's causing violence instead of pointing to this sermon given by a cleric? And so this is what I want to emphasize tonight. If you look up this sermon given by Abu Rajab, the Sheikh Mohammed Salah Abu Rajab, he's referencing the Quran. He's referencing Muhammad. And this is what we ultimately have to get to, that the Quran itself teaches Jew hatred, and so do the Hadith. Let's look at the Quran, chapter 8, verses 64 to 65. Let us read it, because this is what that cleric referred to. "O Prophet, sufficient for you and for whoever follows you of the believers is Allah. O Prophet of Allah, incite the believers to fight." So we have to keep in mind here, there is the teaching in this religion to kill the unbelievers, and Jews are constantly brought up. We have to keep in mind that for Islam, there can be no peace on earth until every Jewish person is wiped off the planet, then followed, of course, by all Kafirs. Muhammad himself commanded the beheading of 600 to 900 Jewish men of the Banu Qarazai tribe. You know, read Sahih Bukhari for the narrative, especially on this crime. The women and the children were taken as slaves, some of the women as Muhammad's personal sex slaves. So Muhammad led by example by ordering the massacre of the Jewish tribe Banu Qarazai. On his deathbed, Muhammad commanded Muslims to kill Jews. This was his final and strongest message. He commanded, and this is Sahih Muslim 6985. Muhammad is quoted, "The last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree, and a stone or a tree would say, 'Muslim, or the servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me. Come and kill him.'" So, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a little bit out of Islamic texts and Islamic theology in terms of the anti-Semitism, in terms of the Jew hatred that is taught in Islam. And why I'm bringing this up today is when we are watching these attacks on Israelis by Islam, by the Muslim terrorists, I'm saying enough is enough of this shameless and shameful exoneration of the perpetrators and trying to blame the Jewish people and the Israeli people. It is time to be honest in looking at what Muslim terrorists are doing in Israel and throughout the world, and what they're saying, and why they're doing what they're doing. So an honesty about the Palestinian death cult, about its hatred of the Jewish people, and about how its terrorism is rooted in Islamic texts. That's what has to happen, an honesty, and we have to hold the media and this administration to account. And on this Jamie Glazov moment, I want to end by saying that the Glazov gang is 100% behind Israel. We stand with Israelis, we stand with the Jewish people, and we are with you, we love you, and we must confront the Obama administration for its betrayal of Israel. And we'll see you on the next Jamie Glazov moment. Good night.